There's been this video going around of police body cam footage where a fraternity organization on the campus of University of Iowa was caught in the middle of a hazing ritual when police were responding to a fire alarm that had been triggered, and upon arriving on scene, they were not welcomed warmly. As they made their way down to the basement where the alarm had been triggered, they stumble upon a basement room filled with a bunch of pledges with no shirts, covered in fluids. It looks like there's some sort of hazing scenario happening. Obviously, the police and firefighters are kind of wondering what the hell is going on. They start to roam around on the sub-level basement area. They discover a room that seems to be where all the pledges have been sleeping, and it's just a bunch of sleeping bags stacked amongst each other. The floor is wet, it's disgusting, not ideal sleeping conditions. The police and the firefighters are trying to get some answers out of the members of the fraternity and the pledges as well, but no one's being helpful. They're actually being quite difficult. But before I jump into that, I kind of wanted to just talk about my experience being in a fraternity. At my school, it wasn't a small university, but it wasn't a big one either. So the way that the fraternities were ran might be a little different than how they're ran at a school such as Iowa. At my school, we didn't have fraternity houses. We weren't allowed to because the sororities weren't allowed to, because that would be considered a brothel because of the amount of women living within that one household for whatever reason.
What?
So in turn, to be fair, the fraternities weren't allowed to have houses as well. I kind of liked that aspect because we had just multiple houses that people would rent off campus, and it would just be a bunch of people in our fraternities rooming with each other, and then that would be considered one of your organization's houses. At the big schools, they have the one fraternity house where you pay dues to go towards the rent and whatever perks come with those houses, such as cleaners or chefs or whatever. Usually that makes their dues cost a lot. The amount that I had to pay to be in my fraternity per semester compared to some of these bigger universities, not even close. The fraternity I was in was technically a predominantly white fraternity, but it was the most diverse of the predominantly white fraternities.
Don't lie to me.
But historically, you have the IFC fraternities, Interfraternal Council, which was predominantly white organizations, like your Hikes or your TKEs or SAEs. But then you also have another side of Greek life, the NPHC, which is Non-Panhellenic Council. Those are your majority black fraternities, like the Alphas, the Qs, the Sigmas, the Kappas. Now, one thing I will say as far as the hazing discussion that surrounds Greek life, for my organization, I never felt as though I was truly in danger. I never felt I was being forced to do anything. I always felt like I had a choice, because at the end of the day, I'm a grown-ass man. I can make my own decisions. I mean, yeah, at the time I was 18, but I don't know how it is at the big schools. I've heard different stories and things of that nature. I feel like a lot of the time, most people will do things they don't want to do to join these organizations because they feel like they have to for their social status. They want to be someone, they want to belong to something, they want to have friends, they want to be able to feel secure behind a group of like-minded individuals. And for most people, that feeling alone is enough to make them do some really dumb shit that they wouldn't normally do. Also, sometimes at these big schools, they really feel threatened when they're being told to do something, whether that be fear of physical harm, embarrassment from some sort of blackmail they may have. But at my school, if they asked me to do something that I wasn't comfortable with, I didn't feel like it was kind of a situation where if I said no, I was gonna be harmed physically, or I was going to be embarrassed, have my reputation ruined.
Stop the cap.
That's what I have to say about the hazing thing. And I feel like there's a couple stigmas attached to fraternity guys, such as all of them being dumb meatheads, which isn't true. I know a lot of fraternity guys that are extremely smart. They would party hella hard and then be locked into the library, set up in a study room for the entire week just to do that shit all over again on the weekend. Also, there's another stigma about fraternity guys being rich. Not all of them are rich. Some of these guys don't really have money like that.
Oh my God! 4 quarters. I'm the richest in the world.
And the last stigma I wanted to talk about, fraternity guys being womanizers. Not all of them act like that. Yes, there are some that are pretty bad as far as the way they treat women, but not to the extent of generalizing them all to be guys that don't know how to treat women, take advantage of women, and the biggest thing, assaulting. I'm not saying that that doesn't happen. I know it happens. I'm not stupid. At my school, my organization took that very seriously. They would always talk about those kinds of things as far as how to navigate those situations and be careful. Not to say that this doesn't happen around the country at different universities, different organizations, different chapters. Not all frats or frat guys are stupid, drunk, grapey, rich assholes. Now, as far as these guys in this body cam footage, there's this main guy that you see throughout the entire video. He's the main person that they are conversating with. His name's Joseph. Joseph, I guess, is not very fond of the police. You can see Joseph in the video. He's drinking beer, vaping. He's blocking the police from doing their investigation within the room that the pledges are being held. When they ask him to bring someone that is in charge to come speak to them, he's playing dumb, he's clueless, and I'm not gonna lie, that little nigga got balls. Joseph was holding it down. At one point, he called one of the officers the F slur.
Cool. Go sleep on that bed. Okay. Fucking cool. Already saw my ID.
One of the officers actually tried to question 2 of the pledges about what was happening, and while that was going on, Joseph decided to tell the other pledges that were remaining in the room to leave the room to try and get them into a different room, and the officer just happened to notice, and then he starts questioning Joseph as to why he told them to leave the room.
What's up? I was gonna ask those 2 guys questions, but then they all started falling out. They left? No, I stopped them, but he was...
Misunderstood. Did you pull these guys out?
No, I went to go talk to those guys, and then they started coming out.
Why did we come out?
So I said that. I said they should come out.
You said it?
I did.
So you're in charge? I know you said you're not in charge.
Not in charge. I said they should go to their beds.
The whole situation was just really fucked up. It kind of looked crazy. Later on in the video, you find out that this is all happening before their initiation. From my deduction, this is for sure their hell week. For anyone who's rushed a fraternity, this is the make or break point for you. Some people have the mindset of, I've made it this far, but at this point it's either fuck all this, I'm not doing all this bull, and you drop, or you go into it with the mindset of, I've already done however many weeks of this bullshit, I can get through this last week. So obviously none of these guys are trying to talk. The officers are questioning them, asking them things, asking if they need any medical assistance or help, or if they're being held against their will. But of course no one's going to answer. In their mind, they're probably thinking, I don't want to be the one to say something, and then somehow the organization magically gets out of this situation and you get dropped because you snitched, or they think you talked. They're literally walking NPCs at this point. They're answering at the same time. No one's saying anything. The officer even made a joke about it. He said, these guys are taking this very seriously.
I've already given multiple commands to clear the room and get out of here, but no one's moving. Apparently they're taking this pretty serious.
Yes.
They should have known in this situation the fraternity was gonna get kicked off or suspended, so whether they talked or not shouldn't have really been that big of a deal. I mean, you can literally see this guy's face right here in the video. He's shaking his head no. Brother, the jig is up. Now eventually the president of the fraternity shows up. The police begin to talk to him outside, away from everyone else. The president is the only one with some sense. That, or he just doesn't want this shit to blow back on him because he's the president at the end of the day, so he's going to take most of the fall. But he goes back inside. They answer the officer's questions, and honestly, I don't think the police officer was BSing during the interrogation when he said that he wanted to hear their side so it wouldn't look as crazy.
This is going in a report. The University of Iowa is going to see this.
Okay.
And with the stuff going around across the country, students dying from hazing events, I'm not saying it's to that level. I'm not saying any, but the university has a very, very strict policy on hazing. If I can't talk to people, and if people aren't going to cooperate with me, that's their right. They don't have to speak to me. However, that means only my observations are going to go into this report. And I'm telling you right now, it's going to look worse than if people can kind of explain to us what's going on, right? Because then I can at least put your guys' side of the story in it as well.
Yeah, the officer was probably just wanting them to admit what happened, because we all know watching the video that this is some sort of hazing ritual, hazing situation scenario. But from his point of view and his body cam footage, that shit looks like a horror game. It looked like something straight out of Resident Evil. That shit's not okay. Then the following day, they pull up on Joseph at his apartment and they give him a second chance to kind of correct his wrongs, right his wrongs, at least maybe apologize for his behavior. Nah, he's not going. Joseph is just a different breed.
Travis? 122, I'll take you. What'd you say your name was?
Joseph.
All right, Joseph. All right, so unfortunately for you, at this point, you're being placed under arrest. You can put your hands behind your back.
There are consequences to your actions. So he ended up getting charged, but the charge got dropped a year later. He was charged with interfering with the investigation and whatever. Basically, they charged him for being difficult and being an asshole. It was a pretty funny video though, because for me it brought back a lot of memories. But like I said, my experience with my fraternity, I had a blast. It was great. It was fun. For those guys in the video, I hope that everyone is doing well. Those pledges, I hope they're all good. The shit they had to do probably wasn't even close to anything that I was asked to do.
Whoa. Come on. I like been staying off and I bring a new coupe. Let out the niggas, new bitch. She all on me, my new bitch, not for the key. Want beef, you got it, but this shit not for the weak. She thinks she